Here's your news for April 24th, 2020. We are starting today with news from Vince McMahon, and while the boss has had a rough few weeks following the XFL going bankrupt and the recent releases, McMahon presented the company's first quarter financial reports of 2020 this week, which was heavily affected by the ongoing global situation. Speaking to investors, McMahon commented on how WWE has had to change to adapt to the situation, saying, "Now we're in the midst of unprecedented times, which require us to be especially nimble, creative, and efficient in order to ensure the long-term value of WWE. We are taking precautions to protect the health and safety of our performers and staff as we produce content in new ways, engage fans with a much-needed diversion, and operate effectively in this evolving environment." Although the company has faced a lot of struggles recently, that didn't stop this from being a very profitable quarter for WWE, as they raked in $291 million over this past quarter, up 60% from the 2019 first quarter. Net income in the company reached $26.2 million, a stark increase on the 2019 Quarter 1 report, which saw a huge loss of $8.4 million. As for the WWE Network, the company reported that there are currently 1.46 million paid subscribers, while Wrestlemania 36 was touted as the most social event in WWE history, up 57% on total interactions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter from last year's show. Though WWE is currently unable to host live events and make any money from ticket sales or from merchandise at arenas, it's clear that the company is still making some serious dollar, meaning we can't help but wonder whether these recent releases as part of cost-cutting measures were entirely necessary. During the financial report, Vince McMahon himself seemed to hint that the cuts weren't necessary, as when asked about the current global situation and the recent releases, he said, "We have no debt. We're not looking to buy some crazy something, we're just making certain that we are being conservative, maybe overly cautious." While WWE's conservative moves may seem cold, it's, as WWE would say for themselves, best for business, as the company has made it clear that they're going to continue creating content for as long as they can. It's been over a month since WWE held a show in front of fans, with the last event ironically being a fan appreciation night in the Performance Center, but that's something that McMahon is hoping to change. On the call, the chairman said how the company were hoping to bring people back into the venue in some capacity, saying, "Yes, we're looking at that. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's 6 feet apart and everyone is tested beforehand. If anyone can know how to do it, it's us." It's unlikely that WWE will be allowed to let anyone in anytime soon, so time will tell what the future holds for WWE and its fans who want to attend the show live. Vince continued by talking about WWE's safety policies and confirmed that talent are being sequestered in hotels during tapings, and that the ropes and turnbuckles are being changed between matches. Triple H added that they've been working with a company called Applied Bioscience and said that a spray that they are using to coat surfaces that lasts for 3 to 4 months is helping them stay protected. Vince finished these points by saying that they'll take advantage of any testing that comes out, as it's clear that while closing WWE fully isn't an option, Vince and the company want to make sure that things are safe as possible for those who choose to compete. Of course, all these measures are only useful as long as WWE is allowed to film content, and while the company has been given the green light as an essential business in Florida, they have plans if something changes. When asked on the call about what would happen if Florida didn't allow them to tape anymore, McMahon gave an interesting reply, saying, "We have a number of states that would welcome us." The chairman gave even more information on WWE's procedures at the moment, saying anyone entering the center must fill out a weekly form and can't even come on the property if they have a fever. It's no secret that the WWE's live event department was gutted following last week's releases, and not only does the company not have any live events going on now, Vince McMahon isn't sure there'll be many more anytime soon. On the call, the CEO expressed doubt about whether the company will do live events even after the current situation, saying, "I don't think we're going to be in the live event business like we were before." It's hard to argue with the idea that people don't want to fill up a 50,000-seat venue anytime soon, and McMahon said that the WWE's future will be more content-oriented and less focused on live events. Ever the shrewd businessman, McMahon kept quiet about how he feels the entirety of the United States is doing, saying, "I don't want to comment on the future of the country, but I just know we're going to do well." Ultimately, fans will have to wait and see how WWE fares, both during and after the current situation, but one thing we know for sure is that Vince McMahon isn't going to let an event like this stop him from making weekly wrestling content. From the worrying real world to the video game world now, as last year's WWE 2K20 did not meet expectations due to issues and glitches that several patches still haven't fixed. While it's been previously reported that the future of the series was bleak, this week's first quarter report confirmed that WWE 2K21 has officially been cancelled. Fans first speculated on there being no new game this year when no trailer dropped during Wrestlelamia season, which usually takes place, and that fact that last year's installment was critically panned didn't help matters either. This year will mark the first time since 1997 that fans haven't had a home console WWE game, and on the official WWE 2K20 Twitter, it was revealed that the future of the 2K franchise will be explained this coming Monday at 7 AM Pacific. Whatever the news is, this is certainly an interesting time for fans and gamers, as many are turning to video games to have a break from the very real, worrying situation going on at the moment. We are looking at the WWE's deal with Saudi Arabia now. As well, the company may not be able to travel overseas given the current situation. This isn't too bad for Vince McMahon. On the financial report conference call, Vince was asked about how the long-term deal will be affected, as the deal calls for 2 shows in the Middle Eastern nation a year, with the first already taking place in February. McMahon responded by saying, "They're not too sure they're going to be able to give us the okay to perform in November or December. They really want us to because it represents a huge turn in what's allowed, what's not allowed, as far as live events are concerned. But the good part about that is, if in fact we don't perform, we'll just tack on that event on the backside of our contract, so we're not going to lose the money." This agreement of extending the contract isn't too different to how McMahon handles the contracts of injured wrestlers, but once again, given the big bucks that WWE will be making this year, even if they don't travel to Saudi Arabia, it's getting harder to argue that the recent cost-cutting measures were necessary. Back to the ring now, and it looks like Universal Champion Braun Strowman's title reign may already be in jeopardy. On the latest Dropkick discussions, Tom Colohue said that WWE's handling of the monster has been a mixed bag, and while he's seen as a draw given him being on the start of the second hour, the WWE doesn't have faith in him as a champion. They've shown faith in Braun Strowman, but there's a lack of depth at the top of SmackDown, and that's why they've been bringing in John Cena and Goldberg. Now without Roman Reigns, there aren't many people left that Strowman can face, especially on the heel side. You've technically got Daniel Bryan, but he's a face and he's involved in something else, so there aren't that many opportunities. This, to me, looks like they're trying to revert back to what their plan was in January, to put the title on Bray Wyatt again and wait for Roman Reigns to be ready. So, what's next for Braun Strowman? This wouldn't be surprising, especially since Strowman appears to be a placeholder at this point. We're not sure when Roman Reigns is going to return, but the good news is that he indicated that the reason for him missing WrestleMania this year wasn't due to health issues, but the fact that his wife Galina Becker is expecting twins. Wyatt might be the best option for WWE to go with right now, but there's no doubt that Strowman deserves a decent run with the title, particularly after all those missed opportunities in 2017 and 2018. What SmackDown needs more than anything now is an injection of top talent into the roster. Colohue was right in pointing out the lack of depth in SmackDown's main event scene. If it centers around only 3 men, Strowman, Wyatt, and Reigns, then it'll be problematic for WWE in the long run. We're taking a break from wrestling to look at the XFL now, as more details have surfaced regarding Oliver Luck's lawsuit against Vince McMahon for wrongful termination. On Wrestling Observer Radio, it was reported that Luck was promised an estimated $20 to $25 million over 5 years, and that this money didn't depend on the league surviving. What McMahon did next was very interesting, as he fired Luck the day before the league closed, and ceased all communication with him, then sent a letter explaining why Luck had been fired. Another interesting twist is that though McMahon said he was putting in $500 million to keep the league going over 3 years, he only lost $44 million, not including the debt he now owes. Meltzer also reported that McMahon loaned the XFL money himself, so the company could make the last 2 payrolls before it was announced that the league had fired everyone, and we'll give more updates on this lawsuit as it develops. And finally today we have some news from SmackDown, and while Cesaro has seemingly everything needed to be pushed to the moon in WWE, including a great look, immense power, and technical prowess, that hasn't quite worked out for him. Instead, the Swiss cyborg has spent the majority of his career in the mid-card or tag team division, and according to former WWE producer Arn Anderson, there are many higher-ups who don't like Cesaro, and have even banned some of his more impressive moves. He said, "He's not a favorite guy, as you know, of the front office for whatever reason that is. They're the only ones that I know because everyone else across the planet seems to think he's a superstar. But he continued to get leaned on to stop doing all that stuff, impressive moves as a heel. It was just too flashy and all that stuff." After nearly 8 years on the main roster, it doesn't look like Cesaro will ever receive that main event push fans have been hoping for years, and many have been left wondering whether he'd do better in another company such as AEW.